Argument number 6, the argument from order. This used to be one of the most popular arguments for Markan priority. Some would have even suggested it was the best of the arguments. That is, until B.C. Butler and others pointed out that using the argument from order for Markan priority relies upon a simple but crucial logical flaw. Butler referred to it as a schoolboyish error in logical reasoning. So devastating were the attacks by Butler and those who followed him that the major proponents of Markan priority today tend to shy away from this argument, whereas those arguing for Matthean priority regularly employ it. In the next segment in this series, we will examine Matthean priority, and we will see why this argument makes a much better case for Matthean priority than it does for the priority of Mark. In conclusion, as we've considered the major categories of arguments for Markan priority, we've found that these are arguments that work particularly well if people already believe in Markan priority. Indeed, that is the world from which they came. Virtually everybody did. But that widespread existing belief came from the work of earlier scholars, people like Weiss, Holtzman, Streeter, and others. Today's arguments build upon the foundation they laid, but these earlier arguments have been set aside. They've been found to be lacking, and scholarship has moved on. What I see then in Markan priority is a theory that is struggling to keep its head above water. New arguments must be invented as old arguments are cut down, but we have to preserve the conclusion of Markan priority because we like the conclusion, because we've built so much upon it. This is the danger of a theory that goes without serious competition for too long. It has been taken for granted. Today's arguments rest upon this foundation, but these earlier arguments have been overturned. They've been rebutted. Their flaws have been exposed. What remains is the belief that they created. Today's arguments rest upon a foundation of belief, but a belief that is vapid. The evidence has largely eroded. Ask these arguments to go the distance on their own, without the advantage of arguing for a conclusion that most people already agree with, and they do not make the cut. We've examined the arguments. We found that each was circular, or reversible, or both. This does not make a compelling case for Markan priority. I used to believe in Markan priority. It's what I was taught. But a deep dive on the evidence led me to change my mind. I am persuaded that the dominant position occupied by Markan priority in New Testament scholarship today has far more to do with the politics of scholarship. It was a theory in the right place at the right time, than it has to do with the evidence itself. On the basis of the evidence, I am left to conclude that Mark was not the first gospel written.